Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm wearing my heavy winter coat today. There's a reason for it, and it's not because it's cold, because I want to talk to you guys about Craft Holster's drop leg holster. Okay, so drop leg holster hangs down your leg, right? Suspends from your belt down to your leg, wraps around your leg. Now the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is there has to be a reason why you're wearing a drop leg holster. And it's not to look like a movie character or a video game character. It's to get the gun underneath your equipment or your coat, or your plate carrier or your tack vest, or your hunting gear, whatever you have up here that prevents you from putting a pistol at your hip, or someplace that's a lot easier to carry it. There has to be a reason why you're going to drop the gun all the way down to your leg. Okay. In this case, I'm wearing a long winter coat because in the wintertime it drops down to about -10 degrees here sometimes. So I need a long winter coat to kind of retain heat. So a lot of times if I'm walking in the woods, if for any reason, let's say I was attacked by a wild animal, a wild boar, or whatever, I want to be able to get to my pistol without having to open up my jacket. So with the drop leg holster, I can pull the coat up, reach underneath the jacket, get the gun out. Okay. Now, gun just went empty, right? Cool thing about this holster is that it has a magazine pouch built into it. Reason why that's important, because if I'm carrying extra magazines on my belt, I'm not going to be able to access them. So I want to be able to, the only place where I can access things is down by my leg. So that's where I'm going to have my gun. That's where I'm going to have my my extra magazines. Okay, they're all going to be down low by my legs. So I mean, getting down to my ankles, because one option might be an ankle holster, but obviously with the ankle holster I got to pull my pants up. In the wintertime I'm wearing boots, so that's not going to work. So the drop leg holster is the fastest option when I'm dressed like this. Okay. Holster. There's a little catch over here. Okay. So let me take this jacket off. Let's take a closer look at this holster and this setup. There's some things I really like about it, some things I'm not too crazy about. We're going to talk about that. It'll give us a good reference point when we're talking about drop leg holster. So the first thing that we had to get sorted out is the why. Why on earth would I wear something this low to my leg? And I just demonstrated, basically I needed to get underneath the coat that I typically wear in the wintertime. Okay. Now if I was wearing a shorter jacket like this one over here, all right, so this is like a 3/4 jacket. This is the one that you guys normally see me wearing when I do my videos. The reason why I wear this jacket is because it's a lighter color, and if I'm holding a gun here, you guys can see the gun, as opposed to the darker jacket, which it's harder to see things. So here I have a 3/4 jacket. So normally I carry up here. Now with this jacket I can get to my to my belt where I normally carry a pistol. So that's why winter, a lot of times with this jacket I'll wear this. But let's say I had a jacket that was slightly lower. All right. Well, here's the thing. I want to, if I'm wearing a jacket that's slightly longer than this, okay, where I can't get to my belt, okay, or to my waistband, okay, I want to place this holster so that it is, as low as it needs to be and not any lower. Okay. The reason is because as you're walking, as you're running, right, the bottom of the leg moves. Okay. So as this moves around, the lower you have your gun, the more this is going to want to move around. So we want to minimize that motion. So you want to get this as high as you possibly can and still be able to get to the gun. Now, a couple of things that I really like about this gun. First, let's unload the gun, make it safe. The gun is not clear. Okay. Get this back in there. Get this snap on. Okay. So one of the things, there's two things I really like about this holster. Number one, you've got these quick release snaps that let you remove the holster, right, with the gun without having to get to your belt to remove this from the belt, because the way this works is this piece here goes on the belt, and then this attaches to this. Now, this is really important because, like I said, the only time I want to be wearing this is if I'm wearing the long coat, and if I'm not wearing the long coat, I don't want to be wearing something this low on my leg, because it's kind of, this can be awkward to run around. This is something that's going to want to hit things, right? So as you're walking around, this is going to hit things. So the way I would carry this is I have the normal carry gun that I have, and only for those instances where I'm wearing, a long coat, where I need to, where I can't access this, I would wear the drop leg holster. But I want to get this as high as I possibly can and still be able to reach it. So let's take this off for a second. Okay. So this is a nylon holster. There's no Kydex in this, and that's something that we have to take into consideration, because there's no trigger guard to protect the trigger. I'm using a double action only gun. Okay, so this is the SIG 250, so it's hammer fired, so every strike is a long, hard pull. The only guns that I would carry in this holster would be a double action only or double action, single action with the hammer down. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to sort out here. Okay, so this holster is best for those type of guns. I would not be carrying a Glock or any striker fired gun in a holster like this. Other cool feature about this is that this is a light bearing holster. So here's the thing: if you're going to be wearing a rig this far down your leg, you know what? You might as well have a light on it, because you're getting into a lot of stuff down here anyway. So having that light, like I don't carry a light on this gun over here, because I want this to be really tight to my body, right? I want this to be as low profile as possible. But when you're getting into a drop leg holster, it's not going to be low profile. It's going to stick out no matter what. So in my opinion, it may as well be a light bearing holster. You may as well have a light on it. Okay, so that's my thought. And other cool thing is they got the mag pouch here, which makes a lot of sense, because if you typically carry your extra mags on your belt, like I got one back here, well, if I have a long coat on, I cannot get to this magazine. So I want to be able to get to the other magazine, and the only place that I can access it is down by my legs. Okay, so it makes sense. Okay, so now one of the things I like the fact that it goes on, snaps on like that. This goes on like this. Now, really important. Okay, one of the most important features of this holster is you want to be able to get it high as you can, and you need something that will keep this on your leg, because the tendency for a lot of holsters when they're on the drop leg holsters for them to move around, to shift back and forth. Real quick, I'll do a running demonstration. Okay, so as you can see, this doesn't move around that much, and there's a reason. There's a really good design feature that they've built into this holster on the strap over here. Okay, they basically have 2 layers of rubber. Okay, so this gray area that you see here, that's rubber. Okay, so that's something that I've actually never seen it before on any of the other drop leg holsters, and I'm like, every drop leg holster must have this going forward. Okay, like I am completely sold on this feature, this little rubber here. Like I've heard of competition shooters, that use drop leg holsters, where they gotta use duct tape around their leg to keep these things from shifting back and forth and actually twisting all the way around. So this rubber that they run over here is really gonna keep this thing in place. So I really like that feature. As far as retention, you've got this little snap here. Okay, now here's the thing. I've done lots of drills and exercises with this. Here's the thing. That's one of the things I have found is that you really gotta get your thumb in the right position. You gotta get your thumb in the right position and actually cut into it, right? So you gotta actually like really force your thumb down. A couple of times when I was doing some quick draw exercise with this, I found that I didn't quite get the release. Okay, so that's one of the things. You got to make sure that you snap it and push down to make sure you get that release, and then pull the gun up. A couple of times I did get a snag with this holster, right? So a few times it did snag on me. You know, just, and I'm not even sure whether it was the light or whatever. I did get a snag on a couple of occasions when I was doing exercises. However, now it's not doing it. Right now it's going in. I can snap it. Okay. Okay. So right now it's working fine, but that can happen to you. So let's take this off for a second. I'm gonna take the whole thing off right now so you guys can get a better look at it. Talk about setting this up. Now this, you know, I requested this specifically for my SIG 250 because I only wanted to use this with a double action gun or double action, single action. So I specifically said I wanted it for the SIG 250. This is a very versatile holster. So I have a feeling if I said I wanted something for my Beretta 92, you know, light bearing, I would have got the same thing. Right, so any large frame light bearing gun is probably going to fit into this, right? And the reason is because there's a whole lot of Velcro into this. Okay, so basically this thing just wraps around the gun. So let's talk about, you know, so as you can see, it's a very flexible system, right? So here's the thing, I had to kind of learn this through some trial and error. The first thing you got to get right is this little strap right here. Okay, you got to set this to the right length. Check this gun, make sure it's not loaded. You gotta set this to the right length so that when this gun goes into the holster, right? Okay, that's gonna catch on your muzzle, and then basically, so you adjust that from here. It can be a little awkward, a little, you know. You gotta get that to the right length. Then you wrap that around. You gotta get this nice and tight. So it's really important that when you got your light come like right to the edge. The reason is if you don't get that, let's say this goes in a little too deep, this snap here is not going to end up in the right position. Now this snap here is adjustable on this side, but what's important is you don't want to set this so like too deep, for example, so that you don't want to set this too deep so that this snap is sitting over the top like this. You want this piece vertical, all right, so that when you go to do your draw stroke, okay, it's closed. Okay, you want this piece to be vertical so that when you do the draw stroke, you can put your thumb here, push in, and then cut it. All right, this is I have found that this has been an important thing that I got to do with this holster in order to make sure that I've separated, that I've opened this up. I'll push. And then I'll push down, because sometimes if I just push, it doesn't actually open up. So I'll push and then push down with my thumb, and then I'll bring the gun out. So that's really important. You want this piece here to be vertical. You don't want it coming over the side, because then it's really hard to open this thing up. Also, you know, you want to make sure that everything is tight here, right? You want to make sure that this is not going to come over the top like this, right? So you want everything tight. So you got to work at it to make sure that you get everything in the right position. Now, there's only one thing that I kind of don't like about this, okay? And that's this piece right here, because they do give you the option of making this longer, okay? Which I find kind of odd. I mean, you have to be, I'm 5'10". I mean, I can't imagine anybody wanting to make this any longer. If anything, I can see people wanting to make it shorter. But unless, if you're like, I guess if you're like 7 feet tall, you might want to make this thing longer. But to make this thing longer, what you do is you undo this thing over here, right? So, and then once you do that, basically this kind of pulls apart, okay? So you can see how easily this lengthens up. So this is kind of like the only vulnerability I see of this system, this design. Is once you get this thing to the right height that you want, right? So this just kind of wraps around. Get this to the right height. Okay. The only thing locking this thing in place is this little piece of Velcro that really has connection, you know, it really doesn't have a whole lot of surface to grip onto things. So that's the only thing that keeps this thing from loosening up. And I mean, if I pull on this hard enough, I mean, I have to pull on it really hard, but at some point, because remember, you're bouncing around with this, you know, and this tiny little piece of Velcro, I see this potentially is coming loose. A quick fix for this would be just take some electric tape. You know, once you get this to the right length, right, and for me, it's basically as short as possible. I would basically go just get electric tape and just go around this, you know, to make sure that this Velcro doesn't open up. Now, the other thing here is, you know, this is basically as short as I can get it, okay? Now, what if I'm wearing a 3/4 jacket where I want to bring this thing up over here, right? So it's not quite as high as my carry gun back here. So, you know, because like I said, we want to drop this the least amount that we need to drop it, okay? So let's say I'm wearing a jacket that comes up to here, and I want to carry the gun right here. Well, I can't really do this with this, but I sort of can. What I can do is I can take this thing off. I can remove this, I can take this Velcro off, right? Basically take this plastic out and then run my belt through here, right? So I would remove this, run my belt through here, and then the belt would sit like right here, so then I can make this a little bit longer if I need to. So this is flexible in that sense. So I don't think that this is what they had in mind when they designed it, but this is what I can do with it. Okay, so here's the thing. This is a $50 holster, so it's not the most expensive holster in the world. This is a good holster, right? Well, you know, for $50, which is, you know, not super expensive. It's a good holster to buy and try out to see if drop leg works for you. Because you might try drop leg, and you might be like, okay, this thing is just not working for me. It's not comfortable. I keep hitting things in the way that I work, the environment that I'm in. This is not gonna work with me. So this is a good a good holster to buy, test out. It is functional. You just gotta do a lot of practice with it and make sure that, you know, you get that release. Make sure that you get this to the right the right tension, so that it's not so tight that you can't get it off. Because at one point I did have it so tight that I couldn't quite get the gun out of there. So it's very flexible in the sense that this will fit a lot of different guns. And like I said, I had a feeling if I asked for like something for my SIG, let's say SIG 320, or for my SIG 2022, you know, light bearing, I'm pretty sure I would have got the same holster. Okay, so it is a very flexible holster in that sense, but you got to really work with it to make sure that you got. Oh, see, right now I got a little too tight. Couldn't quite get it out of there. Okay, so you got to find the right tension where it's tight enough to hold the gun, but not. Let's see, now you know, ever since I undid it and I put it back together, I went too tight. So right now I'm having a hard time coming out of there. I would have to redo this. So it did get me thinking in a different direction, though, about the potential for a future design, which you know, because here's the thing. Almost all inside the waistband holsters are of a similar style, really, because it has to be thin, right? It's got to go inside, clip inside your belt, and it's got to be close to your body. So almost all inside the waistband holsters are the same. So the interesting idea that I had would be a drop leg carrier that you would clip on your inside, you know, clip on this holster onto that, right? So future idea, you know, would be to have this would be a platform to take the regular inside the waistband holster that you carry, and basically clip it onto this, and then you can drop that down, you know, based on what you're wearing that day and what equipment and what clothing you have, etc. So this, you know, I hope you guys found this video interesting. You know, I've spent a couple of days working with this. I've learned a bunch of things working with this holster and this design. Okay, this holster is made by Falco, sold by Craft Holsters. It's a $50 holster. So it's definitely, it's not like a crazy expensive holster. It's something that you can buy and experiment with, and see if this drop leg design is going to work for the way that you live and work and train, etc. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're not a member of the channel, subscribe, and I'm going to drop some links in the description area, so you guys can go check out these holsters, in case you're something that you're interested in. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.